Know anyone that's sick? I don't think it's a coincidence. Because if you guys didn't know, I'm seeing COVID, flu, RSV cases on the rise. Did you know they told us this was going to happen a month ago? ER visits up like crazy. CDC reports flu is rising nationwide. Not anymore. I mean, do you guys remember back in 1977? Terrifying history of viruses escaping from labs. In quotes underneath the title, a danger of man-made pandemic sparked by laboratory escapes is not hypothetical. Yeah, that was the H1N1. Did it come from a China lab? Did it come from a Russian lab? Right now we're dealing with what they warned us about a month or two ago, the quad-demic. And I can tell you, I know so many people sick around me with the warning it's gonna get worse. Now I wanna share with you a bunch of stuff that's got the wheels turning. And I wanna show you a map of the projected most worst areas. A lot of crazy information that affects you coming right up. My name is Cohen here at Riverside Homestead, and if you're brand new here, welcome. If you guys are into prepping tips, emergency preparedness, and most of all, news and awareness, stuff that you want to know about, be sure to hit that notification bell so you guys can stay up to date. Let's jump into this one. All right, folks, thanks for starting this off with a like. It really does help this information get to a lot more folks. It's the small thing each and every one of us can do. Now, like I said, they warn us of this stuff. They always know it's coming. Over a month ago, they were telling us about spike in flu cases among children set to rise, pressure on NHS. And before we get into the planes, the mist, the stuff leaked from labs, let's just say it is certain that there is spikes of all types of different viruses going on. I have seen it firsthand. I'll tell you a personal story here in a few moments. But before the juicy stuff, let me show you how they're spinning this from Fox on the rising spike of illness.
Children's Health says flu, RSV, and COVID are all on the rise this week. The respiratory viruses creating the most problems for children are RSV and the flu. Fox 4's Lori Brown has that story.
So the flu cases are skyrocketing at this point.
Dr. Carla Garcia Carreno, Director of Infection Prevention and Control at Children's Medical Center Plano, told us system-wide they saw 279 flu cases last week, a 93% increase from the week before. RSV and COVID cases.
Now check it out, 93% increase. That's a crazy number. This is just the reported visits. Think about how many people don't even go to the hospital. One, you can't even hardly get in these days. Two, good luck making an appointment anytime soon. And the next one on the list, unless you got some kind of paid type of medical care, you can't even afford it.
Are also on the rise. While adults usually recover from RSV on their own, Dr. Carreno says the virus can be dangerous for babies.
That if the baby is having any difficulty breathing, because the treatment for RSV is symptomatic, just hydration, taking down the fever, getting those secretions out of the nose. But if the babies start having difficulty breathing fast without fever, having retractions, having belly bleeding or belly breathing or head bobbing, or if they turn, either blue or purple, it's really important that you call 911.
And respiratory viruses can also cause babies to not drink milk, leading to dehydration. These are the signs to watch for.
They have less number of wet diapers. They are crying without tears. Their saliva is kind of thick. If their soft spot is sunken, those are signs of dehydration. You should also seek medical care as soon as possible.
Dr. Carreno said before things become an emergency, you should go to your primary care doctor who can test to find out which virus your child needs treatment for. Dr. Charles Dunlap is with Pediatric Associates of Dallas's Plano office.
How do you know if it's time to just wait it out at home or go in to see your primary care doctor?
Yeah, so it's easy. I think that decision is easier when you're talking about yourself personally as an adult, but when you're worried about your children, that's a whole different level of anxiety. And so what we tell our families is, look, if you're worried about your kid at all being sick and how sick they are, and you're not sure what to do, please just call us. We have an active staff of triage nurses that can give you guidance.
When it comes to the highly contagious flu, there is a treatment if diagnosed within 48 hours of a fever.
Your typical flu symptoms are going to be cough, headache, fever, usually above 100, maybe in the 102, 103 range, sore throat, body aches, chills, fatigue. You certainly can have wheezing, and some respiratory distress. And also it can be associated with nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea.
And if that sounds miserable, there is still time to get vaccines. The flu and COVID vaccines are recommended for everyone.
Okay, so I've seen numerous kids sick for sure. Sometimes I wonder how it just hones in on the kids. And then probably the parents of the kids get it, like myself. Again, let me know if you guys are seeing a rise of cases around your area, what state. Now, like I said, before I get to the juicy stuff here in a minute, stuff that's got my wheels turning, you can see clearly, this is PBS News, CDC warns flu and COVID infections are on the rise and could get worse. This one right here on Today News, where is flu surging in the US? Some hospitals are overwhelmed in the states with high rates. And this is just from a couple days ago. Do you realize that there's over 9.1 million people sick? Those are the people that have been recorded. Unlike my family that doesn't report anywhere. So imagine what that real number is.
Total count right now, we have about 9.1 million illnesses, 110,000 hospitalizations, and 4,700 deaths so far this season. 17 of those deaths are pediatric. 6 of them happened in the last week. Compared to last year, we're spiking a little bit later, but experts absolutely predict that we're going to see this kind of high activity at least for the next couple of weeks.
So folks, as these storms, this Arctic blast, these bomb cyclone winter things that were these surges of winter that's coming on, take extra precautions. Even though what I'm about to show you next doesn't matter if you even live off grid, it might still get you. All right, now before I get into the juicy stuff, I have to tell you, I am sick for the 3rd time since about Christmas. And get this, I haven't been sick in 2 years prior to that. Now our kids go to a very small school, much like private school, more so like a homeschooling, but they're around other kids. And then they go to jujitsu class, so they're around a lot of kids. And granted, each time that I get it, I'm not 100% better yet, but I'm telling you, this last one, it started on Sunday. You guys will have to let me know what some of your symptoms have been. But one night I had to take care of a kid with a fever. We have 2 kids that are down right now. They went through cycles of fever, lots of coughing right now, but I had to take care of one all night long, checking on him, up in his face, breathing on me. I even carried my little one to bed, coughed right in my face. I don't know if you can get away from that, but I was doomed. Let's just say that. But how it got me was crazy. I had to lay in bed and I couldn't move. Like, energy level was low. I tried to get out of bed. I almost collapsed because my legs just gave out. I sunk. I was so dead. I was so dead in bed. I had zero energy. Laid in bed for 3 days. Only got up to go to the bathroom. It was crazy. Now I've got this nasal thing. My ribs are sore. My abs are sore from just the phlegm getting in the back of my throat and coughing. So half of this is me faking it that I'm doing better than I really am. But I've had a lot of time to lay in bed and think about this. Did a little bit of mild research, even though I had zero energy to research. But check this out. You can tell me if I'm crazy, but what I'm trying to figure out is seeming a lot more possible. How many of you guys saw the whole fog thing? The fog that didn't leave, the drones that were running around, and then half of you guys put it in the comments. I read them. It was just days and you were sick. What the heck? Now, how is that for coincidence, right? So we got the drones, then we've got the newly okay to talk about cloud seeding. Look it up. Now, not even a couple years ago, you look this up and you'd be considered a conspiracy theorist if you said that this was real. And for all those people that got labeled as crazy, it's funny that now you can look it up and it's all over the place just like it's been there forever. And I'm sure the folks that were telling people about this just a couple years ago and beyond, well, I'm sure they got the treatment of you're nuts. Tinfoil hat, you're crazy, right? Tell me if that's some of you, because I've told people for the last 4 years. And when I first started telling people, they're like, there's no such thing. It's all a gimmick. Very easily, you can go on the web, look at the planes, look at how they do it. You can see the tanks that they use. I mean, seriously, this is the type of plane that you're used to flying in, but instead of seats, you got tanks. Now, what they'll tell you that these are used for is weather modification. And they're gonna validate that with all kinds of reasons why they need to add to clouds, to block some of the sun, create rain. Now, I haven't deep dove it recently, but I'm pretty sure they can make a storm. I know there's a couple guys that I follow that could probably pipe in a lot of information on this. What most people don't know is that these are contractors, right? Contractors, meaning they hire the plane, they hire the pilot, they can even hire a crew to make sure everything goes well. Flipping switches, covering the zones that are paid to cover. Now, when I say they're contractors, basically they get the contract and say, we want this covered over this area. And you guys have all seen the lines in the sky. You're not going crazy. If people are still saying that you're crazy, they haven't caught up on reality yet. Because like I said, you can easily look this up. It's very, very aware. It's very easy to find news. I asked AI, I said, was cloud seeding considered a conspiracy theory in the past? It said yes, all the way back to I think the 1940s is what he was saying. And then I said, but wasn't it even considered a conspiracy just a couple years ago? And the AI said yes, even just a couple years ago. Then I asked AI, was information online available and easy to find even a couple years ago? Was it harder to find? It said, yeah, info on cloud seeding used to be less accessible. Discussions around it were often limited to niche forums and academic papers. But with environmental issues gaining more attention and with the internet being a hub for all sorts of info, there's been a surge in availability, resources, and discussions about it. So even AI knew it was a hush hush up until just a couple years ago. Now, my point being is, if you are, let's just say big pharma. No, not big pharma. Let's say just some company. And you come out with hundreds of $1,000 contract, maybe millions, and you have countless business names and businesses under that hub. And one of those companies called, TFI 5 Industries. They call up the plane contractors and say, we'd like to contract for 6 months at $2.5 million. Do you think these contractors are like, what are we putting out there? Let me check your information. Let's go through things and no. If you guys know anything about contractors, they're gonna happily take the highest bid and ask no questions. So my train of thought right now is, if you've got this availability to spread stuff across in the sky, now I'm telling you, this is where it gets crazy. We already know that things have been getting corrupt as all get out. Things are coming to light that a lot of us have been warning people about for the last 4 years. How easy would it be if you were a billionaire to hire out one of these planes to spread whatever you want? Because remember, there's a lot of lab rats out there playing God and messing around with viruses. And then next thing you know, your certain brand of cough syrup is sold out everywhere. Do you realize my wife went to a local store here, put something that most people get when their kids are sick in her cart, and it said 500 other people had this in their cart. I looked at her and I'm like, you better go pick it up now. You can't validate hardly any of this stuff still on the internet. And if you do got some validation, let me know. But with the old C-Vitter, even though we all think it came from the Wuhan lab, there's nowhere on the internet that's going to validate that for 100%. Just like most people think that the big leak of H1N1 came from China in the 1970s. 77 had a big explosion in China and Russia. Everyone was saying it was a lab leak. No one's gonna make that claim. No one's gonna list it as a proof of fact. And why is that? I think it comes with way too many consequences. But there again, I asked AI, how often is there virus leaks from labs? And AI said, it's something that happens. Couldn't give me any specific places or any specific numbers, but says it happens. So there's my crazy theory, my opinion, that's chalked up to entertainment purposes only, of course. Let me know what you guys think. Did the cough syrup get to my head, or am I on to something here? Remember, you got some big, huge guru, multi-billionaire, that could go way more deep into the billions. If everyone needs something, let's say 50% of the population spent $50 to $100 on cold and flu remedy stuff at the store. You know how much that would come to? $25 billion to $50 billion. So you put all those pieces of the puzzle together and think about what these people can get away with these days. It's just not seeming too tinfoil hat anymore. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of my crazy opinions. Love to hear it in the comments down there. Please share this out. If you missed either one of these videos, be sure to check them out and make sure that notification bell is still on, because I got a lot more coming down the pipe. Keep prepping, keep learning, keep doing. We'll see you on the next one.